Hello everyone, remember this?
Can you hear me? Oh, hold on. I mute in case. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Hi,
Yes.
we are live on Star Citizen Live right now.
Sweet. What's going on?
We just did a show about FPS combat and gameplay, and the overwhelming topic in chat was about desync.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I volunteered. Remember those big long posts you used to do on Spectrum about a really important topic?
Yeah.
I volunteered you to make one of those.
Okay.
And then
on desync specifically.
Yeah, on desync specifically, and what's causing it, and what our efforts to fix it. And
It's all good.
I realized I didn't want you to hear about it on Reddit first.
Okay, cool. So just a deep dive.
Just a deep dive on desync and why it's happening.
All things desync and networking.
Yeah, I think it's
Cool.
important.
How hard can
Sounds
it be?
good. We'll do it.
Sure. Sorry, can you hear that? Can you say that again?
We're good. I'll do it.
All right.
Hey.
Thank you, Benoit.
Thank you guys.
All right.
Have a good one.
All right, bye.
Bye.
He's never taken a call from you again.
Yeah.
He's never answering a call from me ever. That's it, chat. I just used up the last stroke I got.
We are now more than 1 month later, and so far nothing has materialized. I guess Benoit is still writing this article. Recently we have a lot of threads popping up on Spectrum about this. Harry, did Benoit ever get to write up for desync issues? A short while ago I remember Jared said he was gonna have Benoit write up a detailed post on desync and what they are working on to address it. Was this ever made, or is it still in progress? And we have Steyer, that post might lack. Yeah. Chris, 715, posted a link to an IC report. We will look at this shortly. Check Skull Crossbone, 2 more years, this time for real, pinky promise. What are desync's? Desyncs mean that clients and servers don't agree on the state of the game. This can be something as trivial as the door. One client sees the door open, another client sees the door closed. Or something like this. One player sees the other player outside his ship, the other one is inside the ship. This actually happened to Chris and his daughter. On Chris' screen, his daughter was outside his ship. On her screen, she was inside his ship. Chris looked at her screen and said, "Oh, now you are glitched."
Inside.
No, you're not. You're outside. Come into the...
No, I'm inside.
Okay, you glitched.
While desyncs can be funny at times, for the most part it makes the game unplayable. A little history: in the beginning we had a very small universe, we couldn't land on moons, and we had a player cap of 24 players. Game usually ran quite well, but there were times when we had desyncs there too. Later, CR changed his player cap to 48 and to 100 players. Desyncs started to get a bigger problem. Then in 3.18 we got PES, persistent entity streaming, and things are gotten way worse. Yeah, Chris needs to be able to throw a cup into the woods and find it 4 weeks later. This is very important for Chris. However, Chris never asked himself, why does no other game studio do this? Why do online games have server maintenance and cleanups? I guess all the other game studios suck, Chris, right?
But the proper persistence is, I go anywhere, I take my Elroy's cup, I get my coffee at the space station, I take it with me, I get on the spaceship, I fly to a planet, I walk in a forest, I litter, I drop it on the floor in the forest, I get off, I fly away, and then Sean flies to the forest and sees an Elroy cup when he arrives in that area. So,
and I grab it and I sell it.
Yeah, there you go.
But then you come back and you think that there's a bug in the game because it's gone, whereas in reality, Sean took it.
Yeah, so the second stage of the SOCs is the full persistence comes in with what we call the iCache, which basically will save out all the state and position of any item in the game when you move away from it. So if you have to, which is what's happening on the server right now, it streams out like what's there, and right now we're persisting it in the server's memory, but we aren't persisting it back to a cloud database just yet.
In January 2025 we got a first iteration of server meshing. But this first iteration of server meshing didn't improve desyncs and didn't improve interaction delays. All it did was to increase player cap from 100 to over 700 players. In 4.5 we got engineering, and now CRG servers that were already way overloaded have to take care, have to store and have to distribute even more data. And now we are here in 4.7 and things are really, really bad. Unless you are playing off hours and are on a very low pop server, and if you are in a region where not many other players are. So you basically have a server for yourself. Here's the CRC report. Link to this is in my first pinned comment below. Desync shows your experiences by Solaris CIG. Started March 25th. 243 contributions, critical. I will read some of the contributions. Sark said, personal inventory in bunker missions is frequently unusable due to desync. Guns that were stored into a backpack or put down will rubber band back into player hands. Sometimes picking up a new weapon will delete a rubber banded weapon and no member of a group will be able to find the deleted, not dropped weapon. This happened to me myself many times. Trying to pick up a weapon from a crate and giving up after like trying 10 times because the weapon always rubber banded back into the crate. Key bindings that rely on Alt keys sometimes are registered as Alt key press or non-Alt key press depending on desync level of server to player. Ships in a hangar at points of interest or mission instance can experience catastrophic instance overlap. Player ship will explode for no reason if not despawning. I have consistent issues with desyncing, I mean the whole gaming experience, especially when I'm playing with friends or on the EU. I still try, but going into any form of combat is horrendous. The vehicular hangar is vastly unsynchronized. I landed in the center of the hangar. When the hangar doors loaded in, I was at the end of the hangar. I was returning because I lost a lot of cargo coming into the hangar, obviously hitting the wall of the unsynchronized hangar. Yeah, some locations are even worse than others. This is not an occasional thing, it's in every game session. FPS is always janky and stop motion enemies just break the immersion. Not only breaking immersion, this can be very dangerous if an enemy suddenly teleports behind you and starts shooting. Transition animations can make players immune during it because hitbox is misplaced, causing damage to not be registered. This sounds very interesting. I wonder how I can test this. Any ideas? This is awful. There's desync in game where NPCs teleport, ships teleport, and the worst of all, players teleport. Everything is laggy. This is unplayable. Yeah, desyncs in Star Citizen are so bad, we even have desyncs of players and NPCs at walking speeds. FPS dying in cover, FPS weapon randomly dropped when switching, FPS NPC teleporting when moving, NPC ships teleporting, missile rollback when firing. While in my clips, the torpedoes either hit and kill a ship, or if there's desync, they hit a ship and nothing happens. The ship doesn't even sustain damage, even though it physically hits the ship on my screen on my end. It doesn't register on the server, or on the server it registered that the torpedo was destroyed or something. Very annoying, and because of the frequency of this I've bought the errors and haven't used the clips ever again since. Desyncs effectively makes torpedoes and missiles useless half the time or every time during busy hours. Well, I guess it worked because you bought an extra ship, you bought an errors. Yeah, not the best idea I think. Back in the days, Chris decided to use CryEngine for the games, for Star Citizen and for Squadron 42. CryEngine could look very beautiful back then, but it wasn't exactly made for an MMO. In addition, when Chris started, Crytek was laying off a lot of people, so Chris could just snap them. Chris always knew there would be a single-player game, Squadron 42, and an MMO. This was always set in stone, even at the very beginning. Here's the original Star Citizen Kickstarter page, single-player, offline or online, drop-in, drop-out, co-op play, Squadron 42. But I think the drop-in, drop-out, co-op play is now gone. Persistent Universe, hosted by us. The MMO part. So basically Chris went for CryEngine because it looked beautiful and because people who know the engine very well were available, looking for jobs. But Chris never cared that CryEngine was not made for a multiplayer game, especially not for an MMO with hundreds, with thousands, with 10,000s of players. CRG used CryEngine and later Frankensteined more and more on it. The netcode even today is still terrible. I don't even know if this is fixable. And by adding more and more into the game, for example recently with 4.5 engineering, CRG servers that were already way overworked have to take care, have to store, have to distribute even more data now. To me it looks like Chris is only interested in eye candy, cool cinematic and his interactive movie Squadron 42. Chris does not care about a PU, Chris does not care about a good user experience there. I am looking very forward to Benoit's article about desyncs, but I'm not having much hope that there will be anything concrete and any good solution. One thing CRG does very, very well, there's always the next Jesus tech just around the corner that will fix everything. Well, we are near 14, CRG is at over $1 billion in funding, and I stopped believing in Jesus techs. Show me that you can do it, CRG. Everything else I don't believe in anymore. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye. Auf Wiedersehen.
Chris is an amazing young man. He wears dresses occasionally, yes, but don't we all have skeletons in the closet? It's not something to judge the man for, it's something to celebrate. And we celebrate Chris around here on the set, whether he's in his can-can outfit or not. We love him, we care about him, and we ask him to get some help. That's all.
Hey, you're still here. You might want to join me on Twitter or on Blue Sky.